Dear Esther.
Dear Esther.
I have now driven the stretch of the M5 between Exeter and Bristol over 21 times.
That's nice.
But although I have all the reports and all the witnesses, and have cross-referenced them within a millimetre using my Ordnance Survey maps, I simply cannot find the location. You'd think there would be marks to serve as some evidence. It's somewhere between the turn-off for Sanford and the welcome brake services.
Oh,
but
yeah,
although I can always
crash.
see it in my rear-view mirror, I have as yet been unable to pull ashore.
Oh, okay. Sounds good to me, dear Esther. Oh, yeah. The boat. Boat crash. Boat wreckage. Ah, to be a bird. That'd be good. I like birds. Dear Esther, you'll come with me to the Hebrides. It's scary with all of these heathers. Help me find my shoes. He's lost his shoes, that's what it's all about. So yeah, let's just head down this path with this weird music.
An imagined answer phone message. The tyres are flat, the wheel spins loosely, and the brake fluid has run like ink over this map, staining the landmarks and rendering the coastline mute, compromised. Where you saw galaxies, I saw only bruises cut into the cliff by my lack of sobriety.
So is he drunk driving then? There's a buoy. Sure, last time he said something about that buoy. Maybe I've advanced too quickly. Never mind. It was just something about it blinking at him and he was having conversations with it. Or something along those lines. Okay. Let's head down here to this shipwreck. And away we go. I don't see anything down here, just shipwreck. Cargo containers everywhere. But what are you going to do? Who knows? Oh.
I had kidney stones and you visited me in the hospital. After the operation, when I was still half submerged in anesthetic. Your outline and your speech both blurred. Now my stones have grown into an island and made their escape, and you have been rendered opaque by the car of a drunk.
Don't call them stones. Jon Snow. Right, okay, so we're heading this way now. Up this path. What's down there?
Is this what Paul saw through his windscreen? Not Lot's wife looking over her shoulder, but a scar in the hillside, falling away to black forever.
Wow. Tempted to jump, but we won't. They should fence that off, that's dangerous. Somebody could walk in there. Oh, now we climb towards this house. It's like the only house on the bloody island. The Hebrides. I still don't know where the Hebrides are, if I'm honest. I want to say... Well, there are definitely islands, rocky islands off the coast.
I've begun my ascent on the windless slope of the western side. The setting sun,
Windless.
with an inflamed eye squeezing shut against the light shone in by the doctors. My neck is aching through constantly craning my head up to track the light of the aerial. I must look downwards, follow the path under the island to a new beginning.
Oh. I've lost my train of thought completely. Monks! Ugh. Someone who's been performing some sort of surgery. What are they? Oh, I can't read it. Oh yeah, the Hebrides. Right. The Outer Hebrides and the Inner Hebrides and the Hebrides. I want to say that's off the coast of Scotland. It looks like it. It looks very cold. I know that. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I know you get other islands off the coast of the UK, which are also cold, but like I don't know, it's sort of windswept North Sea sort of vibe going on here.
The bothy was constructed originally in the early 1700s. By then, shepherding had formalized into a career. The first habitual shepherd was a man called Jacobsen, from a lineage of migratory Scandinavians. He was not considered a man of breeding by the mainlanders. He came here every summer whilst building the bothy, hoping eventually that becoming a man of property would secure him a wife and a lineage. Donnelly records that it did not work. He caught some disease from his malcontented goats and died 2 years after completing it. There was no one to carve white lines into the cliff for him either.
How sad. Caught a disease off his goats? That sounds horrible. We'll go into the house first, yeah? Yeah. So this was Jacobsen's house. I think he needs to get somebody in to, oh, more painting, to clean it, and maybe rebuild it too.
My heart is landfill. These false dawns waking into the still never light. I sweat for you in the small hours and wrap my blankets into a mass. I have always heard the waves break on these lost shores, always the gulls forgotten. I can lift this bottle to my ear, and all there ever is for me is this Hebridean music.
Oh, the Hebridean music is very important. That seagull scared the crap out of me. Okay, I guess we go down underneath there, but let's have a look in this building as well. Because you don't see many buildings in Dear Esther. I think this is it, actually. Get over that rock, please. Thank you. What's in here? No. More art. Art. Right, okay. Got an itchy nose, this one. Itchy nose. It's from Bleach. With the whole bounce saga. Rubbish. Filler rubbish. Well, it wasn't terrible. Well, yeah, it was pretty bad. It wasn't amazing. It was okay. Right, so we're going back down again now. After climbing all that way, we've found that we're on the wrong part of the shore. The land. The land masses. So we go back down to the sea. That's not... This isn't quite realistic. Because if you take a path trying to get anywhere on cliffs and areas like this, you'll just come to a dead end most of the time. Unless it's a very well-trodden path where lots of people go.
He left his body to the medical school and was duly opened out for a crowd of students 21 days after his passing. The report is included in my edition of his book. The syphilis had torn through his guts like a drunk driver, scrambling his organs like eggs on a plate. But enough definition remained for a cursory examination, and, as I suspected, they found clear evidence of kidney stones. He's likely to have spent the last years of his life in considerable pain. Perhaps this is the root of his laudanum habit. Although its use makes him an unreliable witness, I find myself increasingly drawn into his orbit.
Oh?
They found Jacobsen in early spring. The thaw had only just come. Even though he'd been dead nearly 7 months, his body had been frozen right down to the nerves and had not even begun to decompose. His fingernails were raw and bitten to the quick. They found the phosphorescent moss that grows in the caves deep under the nails. Whatever he'd been doing under the island when his strength began to fail is lost. He'd struggled halfway up the cliff again, perhaps in a delirium, perhaps trying to reach the Bothy's fire before curling into a stone and expiring.
Oh my. So, he got syphilis, which is a sexually transmitted disease, which I'm sure everybody is aware of. Which, according to House, causes brain damage because it attacks your brain, this brain stem or something. Which would make you go a bit loopy gaga. But the worst thing was, he got it from his goats. I'm sure he said he got his illness from his goats earlier, which means that he'd been fornicating with his goats.
Climbing down to the caves, I slipped and fell and have injured my leg.
Oh.
I think the femur is broken. It is clearly infected. The skin has turned a bright, tight pink, and the pain is crashing in on waves, winter tides against my shoreline, drowning out the ache of my stones. I struggled back to the Bothy to rest, but it has become clear that there is only one way this is likely to end. The medical supplies I looted from the trawler have suddenly found their purpose. They will keep me lucid for my final ascent.
Okay, so what I take from that, and we're about to head into the caves, is that that's why he'd been operating on himself. He's broken his leg. So he wasn't trying to take his kidney stones out or anything like that. He's still got those. He's forgotten about it because the pain of his leg. Because another thing that Heist taught me is that your brain has a gating mechanism. So if you've got a pain that's constant and you want to take your mind off it, smash your fist or something, and then you forget about the other pain. It's not really much of a relief, I wouldn't have thought, but it gives you something else to dwell upon. We're going to go down into this anus of the world. Yeah. So, for chapter 3, the caves. Here we go.